In a recent oral exam question, a student was asked how would he account for the blind and the shadow sector of the radar when it comes to collision avoidance. So, the explanation of this question is something very simple, but students often get confused about it. So, let me just show you today what the examiner meant and how should you be answering the examiner. So, if you don't know, then when a ship uses a radar, there is a certain blind sector or a shadow sector to every radar, depending, of course, on the construction of the vessel. Now, here, what you see on your screen is an example of a blind sector or a shadow sector diagram where it clearly shows what are the blind sectors and shadow sectors. Now, what is a blind sector and shadow sector? Well, if, and I will explain that later, but blind sectors and shadow sectors of a radar are the limitations of a radar where the radar cannot pick up target if the targets are within this blind sector here. All right, either here or here. So you can see here it's clearly labeled the blind sector. So now you can see that the blind sector occurs because of either an obstruction like a mast or a funnel, and because of the mast and the funnel being located in the zone at which the radar is sending the radio waves for target detection, the radar doesn't pick up the targets in this sector. So every radar will have a blind sector or a shadow sector diagram where you can see how the target vessel will be obstructed and not be picked up by the vessel because the of the obstructions. Now if I go into a diagram here, I'll show you here. This is an example of what is happening here. So you can see here vessel A is operating a radar, but here somewhere here is a blind sector because of which vessel A cannot pick up vessel B, which is the overtaking vessel in this case. Now vessel B is overtaking vessel A at a very close range. The CPA is not much. Now you must be wondering, why is vessel B not taking action? Well, there are some vessels in the world who are not taking action, and that's why collisions happen, because people kind of overestimate a certain situation or underestimate a certain situation, because of which they don't take action and accidents happen. Or it could be for any other reason. Now vessel B is overtaking vessel A, and vessel A, because they are not maintaining a proper lookout or probably relying only on the radar lookout, or it's restricted visibility because of which they cannot see vessel B is not being picked up by the radar of vessel A, because of which there could be a potential risk of collision. Vessel B reaches somewhere here and it is very close and the CP is not much. So what should vessel A be doing in in these cases, or how can any vessel address this problem of a blind sector or shadow sector? So my advice to every vessel is that when you are transiting on your course to steer, as you can see here on your screen, you're transiting on a course to steer every now and then and frequently. You should be doing this quite frequently and not for too long, but every now and then or frequently you should be going off the course to address this. Now, what do you mean by going off the course? Basically, that if you suspect there are shadow arcs or blind sectors or blind arcs, then a vessel should be swung off course. Come here or maybe go here. It should be swung off course. All right, no need to then stay on your intended course. Swung off course means go off your course for a short period at regular interval, so that you can then pick up the targets which are falling in your blind sector or shadow sector. Because as soon as you change your course, your blind sector will change, allowing you to pick up targets which were previously in your blind sector. So as soon as you change your course, your blind sector will change and you will be able to pick up the targets which were initially lying in your blind sector, because your blind sector will change. And this is something that every vessel should do often, not for too long. Just go off a little bit and then come back on your original intended course. Because I know that you might argue that how can I keep going off course? What will the captain say? Well, this, if you explain to the captain and the captain understands all this, and you have to do it in a way that it doesn't delay your ETA, but you go off course and then you adjust it in a way that you don't have to come back exactly, but save fuel and time by joining the course like this. So that allows you to pick up the targets which may be there in your blind sector, also allows you to be on course on time by a few adjustments only. So this is often a rule of the road question where a surveyor will ask you how will you address for risk of collision if your vessel has certain blind sectors or shadow sectors. And I thought I'll make a short video on this. Please let me know if you still have any questions. I'll be happy to address it. Bye for now.